Ladies and gentlemen, William Barr is going to release, the Justice Department is going to release Michael Horowitz's Inspector General report on December 9th. So just, a little over a week from now. Democrats are going to say, you see, there was no effort by the Justice Department to engage in surveillance or do anything underhanded. There was no bias. They were worried just about the election and Russia's interference into the election. Nobody is going to put two and two together on the left. They're going to create their own reality. Now, there's already a criminal, an FBI lawyer is already under criminal investigation, and very likely, I think there's already a criminal referral in the IG report. He's already under investigation. There might already be a criminal referral for a lawyer named Kevin Kleinsmith that I believe George Papadopoulos knows, because Papadopoulos was framed and set up by all of these people in addition to Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn should be pardoned tomorrow. There was never any underlying evidence to start this probe. Michael Horowitz, the IG report is not the end of Durham's probe. John Durham's probe is a criminal probe. The IG report is just one report that he can use for his two-year-long criminal probe. Durham's going to continue to investigate until past the election because he's going to continually get more information. The IG report doesn't have all the information. Just like the prior reports didn't have all the information on the Clinton email debacle. Judicial Watch continually unearthed more, and Tom Fitton, they're both amazing, more information on the Clinton email probe regarding intent, regarding even more classified intelligence outside of the United States government. The issue with the Clinton email IG report was that they didn't explain when they said, they did this, that. There were violations and protocol rules, breaking of protocol and all this, but we couldn't find any prosecutorial bias, even though Peter Strzok said, we will stop Trump in one of the text messages, and they refused to interview Hillary Clinton before Comey writes his exoneration letter. The issue is that they didn't find out how she transferred top secret and special access program intelligence. How was she able to receive in her inbox emails from people that were sending top secret and special access program intelligence? Those people are implicated as well eventually. So the issue in the State Department, the recent State Department probe, they didn't intentionally want to evade laws. Who cares? There was no systemic intent to violate laws. Who cares? The last IG report, though, the State Department report regarding the Clinton email probe found almost 600 security violations. But then they say, there's no intent, so it's okay. So Democrats are going to create their own reality. Nobody cares that she had top secret and special access program intelligence on servers outside the United States government. Nobody cares that she was able to receive those emails from the U.S. government onto servers that the U.S. government had no access to. But this is all they don't care. They're going to create their own reality. So you have the New York Times here. Russia inquiry review is expected to undercut Trump claim of FBI surveillance. No, it's not. He's not. Michael Horowitz is very likely going to make, grandiose judgments that will suit the Democratic Party. They didn't have any political bias. There was no widespread political bias. Yeah, because what do you think Kevin Kleinsmith, for example, is going to do? Write a letter saying, I am doing this to ensure that we surveil Trump. Signed, FBI lawyer who fabricated and falsified information in a FISA application and then made sure that we didn't give exculpatory evidence. Signed, FBI agent working under the tutelage and at the behest of Comey, Strzok, and McCabe. That's not, so that's, he's expecting, the only way he's going to say that there was bias is if he finds that kind of letter. But here, the FBI never tried to place undercover agents or informants inside the Trump campaign, a highly anticipated Inspector General's report. Yeah, well, they did in Stephen Halper. They're going to say, well, that's just standard procedure, and he was there to find out if the Russians had infiltrated Trump's campaign, but there was nothing personal. There was nothing personal. It was just strictly part of the protocol, and so the findings, one of several of Mr. Horowitz's that undercut conservative claims the FBI acted improperly. No, that's the conservative claim or the Trump claim. This is even the New York Times doesn't get it. They utilized the United States government against Trump, and they did so by breaking and bending protocol, but they hid behind protocol. That's why you find that they fabricated information, or they falsified information for the FISA application. That alone proves intent. You don't accidentally do these things. You don't accidentally have Peter Strzok say we will stop Trump, or Kevin Kleinsmith say that, or falsify information. Or you don't accidentally have the FBI withhold exculpatory information from Michael Flynn and from George Papadopoulos. You don't accidentally have the FBI engage in a criminal probe utilizing a dossier that was purchased by Clinton or gossip from Alexander Downer. But here, the Australian ambassador, Alexander Downer, they say, well, how did he know? How did he know that the DNC was going to be infiltrated before it was actually infiltrated by Russia? Well, how did he know? Because the Democratic Party says, well, Papadopoulos must have told him. Papadopoulos there's actually recorded evidence that he never told anyone anything. And then he has stated consistently he never told Downer about anything to do with Russia or the hacking, the alleged hacking. And Joseph Mifsud has stated categorically, and he actually lied about other things to the FBI. He was never charged. But he stated that he never told Downer anything. So both Downer and Papadopoulos, the two key people here that are the basis for all of this, in addition to the Steele dossier that was purchased by Clinton, Papadopoulos and Downer both say they never told. Papadopoulos and the professor Mifsud both say they never told anything to Alexander Downer. They never told Alexander Downer that they knew of knowledge prior to the DNC hack. So then how did Downer know? That's the issue. Maybe they should investigate Alexander Downer. But see, again, they're hiding. It's just so obvious. They're hiding behind protocol. And you're talking about a bureaucrat, Michael Horowitz, who is trying to find out. So he's only going to find out irregularities. He's not going to find out the overall intent of people pulling the strings. It would be like, in any bureaucratic environment, you can pull the strings, or you can hide behind your post, or you can try to utilize the rules and guidelines of your organization to your benefit or to the detriment of others. That's what the FBI did. In addition to text messages and emails that are very incriminating, if the tables were turned, they would never allow FBI agents to say, we will stop Hillary Clinton. They would never allow all of this. And if basically Democrats would be acting in the same way, even worse, because they have the media. They would be demanding, who knows, they would be demanding special counsels. If the tables were turned, they would say, you investigated Clinton based on gossip, based on a dossier that Trump purchased. Oh my God. And then here's the New York Times So the Washington Examiner and the Daily Caller and the Federalist, they're going to have a different take, of course, on all of this. But the New York Times, Mr. Horowitz concluded the FBI was careless and unprofessional. Oh, just careless and unprofessional. Not careless and unprofessional for a specific reason, but in pursuing the Page wiretap. And he referred his findings in one instance to prosecutors for potential criminal charges over the altering of a document in 2017 by a frontline lawyer, Kevin Kleinsmith, 37, in connection with the wiretap application. So, if you want to talk about flipping and singing, first of all, McCabe should have already been indicted. I'm expecting McCabe to be indicted, and I'm expecting this man, Kevin Kleinsmith, to be indicted. Who knows when they're going to? I do believe McCabe soon, but the big thing here, the big issue, is Clinton running. This is all for Clinton, ladies and gentlemen. Clinton's going to be nominee. So forget about the running part. She's going to be nominee. It's going to be Trump versus Clinton again, and Clinton will lose. The criminal probe into all of this will span beyond the election. So, and the IG report is just a stepping stone for Durham. He already put FBI agents in prison, Durham. So that's something that Kleinsmith and McCabe and all of them should know, or probably already know. John Durham already put FBI agents in prison. So he's not, naive. And the IG report is not the be-all, end-all. It will give a great deal of evidence that the FBI was utilized. The United States government was utilized against Trump. This is when I write in the Federalist that these people should be charged under 18 U.S. Code, the 371 statute. It's because they defrauded the American public to utilize government agencies in a manner that they're not supposed to be, that in a politicized manner. So their goal was to utilize protocol and government agencies against Trump. And they did that. Now, Horowitz can't necessarily find the intent because their whole thing is, well, the intelligence agencies concluded with high to moderate confidence, 3 of them headed by people who have the utmost contempt for Trump. But anyway, Horowitz's mixed bag of conclusions likely to give new ammunition to both Mr. Trump's defenders and critics in the long running. Okay, so then you have the New York Times. The FBI did have an undercover agent who posed as Mr. Halper's assistant. Mr. Halper turned down the job and told the FBI that... Here we go. Oh, he goes, Mr. Horowitz found no evidence that Mr. Halper tried to infiltrate the Trump campaign itself. Well, Mr. Halper focused on eliciting information from Mr. Page and Mr. Papadopoulos. This is hilarious. That's exactly what. So the New York Times is like, they didn't infiltrate Trump's campaign. All they did was send a guy named Halper to speak to Papadopoulos. Well, that's the whole point. They say 2 things at once. Democrats are like, well, but Papadopoulos was, doing this and that in Trump's campaign. Like, no, he wasn't. He should be pardoned. Michael Flynn should definitely be pardoned. Both of them should be pardoned. They were set up and framed. They go after Papadopoulos to try to entrap him, and then the New York Times says in the same breath, but they didn't really infiltrate the campaign. He's like, yes, they did. That's the whole point. They tried to get a lower level staffer to, if they couldn't get him to flip and sing because they knew there was nothing there. Maybe some FBI agents felt that the top knew there was nothing. But maybe some FBI agents felt that it could be serious or that the Russians really did hack the DNC to hurt. I mean, the notion, too, and I'll never stop saying this, the notion that it was the Democratic Party who committed wrongdoing. It was the Democratic Party who cheated Bernie Sanders. Who reads the DNC emails today? That's a big problem. That's a huge problem. Could you imagine if it was the RNC emails? They'd be read every single day, like the Bible. But if it's, oh, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. 14 minutes in. Have a great and happy Thanksgiving. Do not talk about politics And so if you've already eaten, hopefully you haven't talked about politics, but don't talk about politics. But Mr. Barr suggested, happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Barr suggested that the FBI signed other informants as well. Okay, in each case, they found the FBI had not deployed those people to gather information on the Trump campaign itself. See, they're splitting hairs here. The technicality, Mr. Horowitz will also undercut another claim by Trumpians that Russian intermediaries who promised dirt on Papadopoulos was an FBI informant. That's not that big of a deal. The Mifsud issue was that whether or not he was an FBI agent or not, he should never have been utilized as an intelligence source. Okay, the FBI did cite the dossier to some extent The dossier should never have been cited. So the best case scenario from the New York Times is that for the New York Times and others will say, well, they didn't find that anything was institutionally wrong. That's because Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Clapper and Brennan, when they say hello in the morning, they're in a deposition, just like Hillary Clinton, who's definitely going to be nominee. So Biden's campaign's done. Okay, Hunter saw to that his campaign's done. Elizabeth Warren is done. Half her support. Okay, Bernie Sanders, if he even gets close, President Obama will prevent Bernie Sanders from winning. So, but I mean, you're talking about a situation where this whole thing, it was the United States government being utilized against Trump. When people say, oh, that's a conspiratorial type of theory, that's because they don't know enough about it, and that's because they don't. If the shoe were on the other foot, they don't ever ask that question. If the shoe were on the other foot, if Trump had purchased a dossier, if Mifsud had been a professor that said that Uma Abedin or Brian Pagliano or somebody within Clinton's campaign knew something before it happened, or Alexander Downer. And meanwhile, how did Alexander Downer know? Because both Papadopoulos and the professor Mifsud have stated they never told Downer anything regarding the Russia probe. So that's a huge, I might be the only person who kind of put two and two together there. The whole thing with why didn't they interview Alexander Downer? Why doesn't Nadler and Schiff interview Mifsud in front of Congress or Alexander Downer in front of Congress? They know, or Fusion GPS's Glenn Simpson. I mean, these people should be witnesses of the prosecution, or of House Democrats against Trump. They know better. So, impeachment is an absolute failure. Nobody cares. Independents want nothing to do with it. Trump's approval is either going up or staying steady. The economy is doing well. You have a Democratic primary that everyone laughs at. There's nobody, and you see from Buttigieg to Warren, every time somebody moves up, there's a controversy or something they said a while back that tanks their campaign. Biden is number one, which is really hilarious because there hasn't been a campaign in history that is more depressing than Biden's campaign. From being linked directly to actual quid pro quo that Democrats are like, no, see, look at Democrats are like, literally they have Biden on video saying that you know what? Go call President Obama. We're leaving now. If you don't fire that prosecutor, you're not going to get the $1 billion. Literally it's saying, if you don't do this, you will not get the money. Literally, like saying it. And it's not enough for Democrats. There's an ellipsis and the word though, and so that's the same thing. And meanwhile, all their impeachment witnesses have no firsthand knowledge. But see, again, if Trump said those words, oh my God. It wouldn't. But if Biden says it, well, you have celebrities, and oh yeah, well that's different. There was no quid pro quo there, even though he literally stated they will not get money. But again, President Obama also stated just recently through Politico that he doesn't think Biden can win. He doesn't believe Biden has what it takes, and that he would intervene if Bernie got too close. I mean, all of this is like, this is so obvious in what's taking place, ladies and gentlemen. It's so obvious. Give me your thoughts below. Happy Thanksgiving. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Biden's campaign is absolutely done. Who knows when Clinton will run? December, January, February? Who cares? Who knows and who cares? We all know the outcome. It's going to be the biggest rematch in history. It'll be Rocky 2. And guess who won Rocky 1? The same guy. And they're like, Trump superimposed in a doctored photo. It's like, yeah, we know. It's awesome. That's what people don't get. Democrats don't get that Trump supporters and 60 plus million people, most of them actually like Trump's personality. They like that he gives fits to Democrats, that he's irreverent. They like that. Democrats will never understand that. Liberals will never understand that. Because they just won't, for a lot of reasons. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Subscribe to both channels, H.A. Goodman's other channel and this channel. God bless you. Have a safe, very safe, and happy Thanksgiving. Be safe out there. There are drunk drivers on the road, so be safe. And thank you, as always.